The controversial way of teaching sixth formers at Shaftesbury School and Sturminster Newton High School is being axed just months after being introduced. From the start of this school year in September, students have been taught remotely at times, with teaching staff delivering lessons online from the site down the road using a web link, which students then followed in the classroom on Chromebook computers. The move replicated teaching delivered during the lockdown, and the Sherborne Area Schools Trust said it was the norm for university education and would maintain educational standards and help meet challenging budgets. But Alfred's learned it's going to be scrapped for new sixth formers from the start of the next school year. The axing of this scheme has followed strong opposition from parents, unions and staff, with reports of a drop in sixth form students choosing Shaftesbury School and instead deciding to enrol at rival places of learning. One of the strongest critics of this plan was North Dorset MP Simon Hoare.
I mean, it is so soul-destroying. The Trust were telling us effectively we were educational dinosaurs and that this was the best way forward. And you'll remember they embarked upon a social media campaign to get educationists to pray and aid, huge support for what they were doing and how this was going to lead to better results and a better learning experience, etc.
And Simon says SAST, or the Sherborne Area Schools Trust, just wasn't listening.
Whatever any of us said was entirely wrong. What the unions were saying, according to the Trust, was wrong. We were disruptors, we were Luddites, we didn't know what we were talking about. They knew best, presented as a fait accompli, in essence to solve a budget problem.
Simon believes that financial issue was down to the way the Trust had managed things.
And it was the poor kids who were going to get the brunt of that.
The MP's most upset with the way this was done.
If they had sort of said, well, look, we think this is a good idea, we're going to give it a go, we're going to monitor it, we're going to reflect it's capable of being tweaked, I think probably those of us who are arguing the contrary position wouldn't be so damned annoyed as we are today, because all of this was absolutely avoidable. And the huge disruption it has caused to pupils and to staff, particularly, kids, they don't want to change from the school, which took them through to their GCSEs to go to a different school. But so many felt compelled to do so because they, like me and others, were not convinced that what was being proposed as the learning offer was going to be right for them and was going to help them get the results that they need to meet all of the challenges of future employment in college and university or whatever. So it's the approach of the Trust which I find has just been absolutely infuriating.
Simon's not gone as far as saying, "I told you so."
I'm afraid it actually led to what we all feared it would lead to. It led to a number of excellent, well-regarded, highly respected teachers leaving because they didn't want to be part of it.
Simon Hoare says the consequences were exactly what critics had predicted.
It led to a number of students with their parents and carers taking the decision to go and find an alternative school where the learning experience would be delivered directly. So the schools now find themselves in a situation, particularly with regards to Shaftesbury, with reduced A-level student numbers of what they would have expected, therefore a reduced income stream from those pupils, a reduction in staff headcount, and quite a lot of egg on their face, entirely self-painted through what was charitably described as, I suppose, deaf arrogance.
Amy Brinsden is from the National Education Union.
We predicted that the change to the hybrid model would impact student numbers, just because what we were hearing from parents and from staff, and what staff were hearing from parents and students, is that they didn't want to do the online hybrid model. So I think that the reduction in the student numbers doesn't come as a surprise to anyone.
In a written statement to Alfred, the Trust say they are listening. During November and December, they undertook a comprehensive engagement process, gathering the views of more than 450 students, parents, carers, staff and community members. But MP Simon Hoare can't believe the Trust hadn't told him they were reversing the changes he'd strongly opposed.
I'm obviously persona non grata as far as the Trust is concerned. I've heard nothing from them at all. Now, I wouldn't expect them to send me a letter to say, dear Simon, you were right, we were wrong. But I would have thought it would just be polite and professional for them to have dropped local councillors, the Member of Parliament a note to say this is what we have done.
And following that engagement, SAST say they're refining their approach so each site delivers a core curriculum taught in person on its own site. They say there'll be no change for the current Year 12 cohort. It'll continue with the existing arrangements, supported academically and pastorally, with access to the Chromebooks and in-class technology. The Trust, though, has not answered the detailed questions sent from Alfred about funding, staffing losses, whether teachers who left will be reinstated, or the scale of any drop in pupil numbers.
They're going back to fully face-to-face teaching, which I think is an excellent move, and I hope that the numbers will reflect that, because they've asked parents what they want and they're giving them what they want, so hopefully we'll see that in the numbers.
Alfred spoke with a member of Shaftesbury School teaching staff who couldn't go on record, but described the change as a disastrous experiment and said the school is going to have to cut back on the number of courses, picking the most popular ones, acting effectively more commercially. Further maths and classics will be canned. Anybody on those courses will continue, though. The union's Amy Brinston says it's a shame, but they accept there is a financial reality to this.
What they're going to do is look at the subjects that they can offer. Obviously, they want to continue to offer a broad curriculum, and they want to offer the subjects that are going to appeal to the most students. So I think there will probably be changes to the curriculum. Some subjects will have to go, but that's a financial reality. And as staff who are passionate about our subjects and want to teach those subjects, if it's not a popular choice at A level, you just simply can't afford to run that course. So there will be some tough decisions, and there might be some changes in curriculum. That's the way that they're going to save money, because you just simply can't have courses that you're running where you only have a really small number of students. It's just too expensive, and the schools just can't sustain that.
Amy feels for her colleagues, but says it is down to cash.
Because when you're passionate about your subject, teaching it at A level is a real treat. It's a real privilege. And I think they will be really sad if their course is no longer offered. But again, unfortunately, it's a financial reality. I think the main thing that the teachers wanted was to keep sixth forms in the schools. And I know that SAS were passionate about trying to keep the sixth forms open in the schools. And I know that, they've done their best to do that. But there will be some decisions that have to be made purely based on finances. And, if you want to keep a sixth form at a school, it's got to be viable. It's got to make financial sense.
In a statement to Alfred, the Sherborne Area Schools Trust say none of these changes are down to the technology not working. They say the model has done the job from both a logistical and educational perspective. SAST say the changes are simply about listening to the community. Their sixth forms continue to provide excellent post-16 education, and they're encouraging Shaftesbury parents and young people to attend a sixth form open evening in Shaftesbury at the school on Tuesday the 13th of January from 5 till 7. From the union's perspective, Amy Brinston hopes this draws a line under a really difficult time for everybody connected with Shaftesbury School. The period last year included strike action, during which the union successfully reversed a separate set of controversial changes outside sixth form provision. They led to teachers being responsible for much larger groups in pastoral care than the unions felt were unacceptable, and the merging of heads of department roles across both Shaftesbury and Sturminster Newton sites. That's all now been reversed. Amy hopes with the changes with the sixth form plan, everybody can now draw a line under what's been a really challenging period.
It has affected staff morale, I think probably at both schools, but I think we went on strike for 3 reasons. We got all of those 3 reasons agreed. I think now we just have to do our very best to make it work. And it's not been easy. Some of the class sizes and the kind of upheaval, the teaching out of your specialism has been really tough.
And it's wrong to use the term victory because so many people have lost from this. But is this something that shows that people are empowered if they come together and speak out against something? The school says, SAST says, this is a change that's been made because of consultation of around 450 people. Clearly, people expressed what they wanted. So is this, if you like, people power?
It is people power, but more importantly than that, I think it's a recognition that it is important to seek people's voices.
I'm going to ask a very tabloid question, but it's the sort of thing people will be saying in the pubs. Do you think heads should roll over this?
I think the trouble with heads rolling is it's such an easy solution, isn't it? And I don't think we should punish mistakes. We should applaud when somebody has made a mistake, and we all do because we're all human, realizes it, and then tries to put something right. So if people just left every time something went horrendously wrong, the corporate learning would be that of a goldfish, and there would be no corporate memory to draw upon. What I hope is that those people who are in charge of directing this area of policy have learned and will rectify how it is that they engage and discuss things and propose things and explain things, and how maybe they better treat those who take a contrary view to theirs.
Let's hope now we're all moving in the same direction, and things are just going to get